Hello explorers and welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about OpenCLAW, and OpenCLAW is one of those projects that somebody vibe coded, and it's a huge security issue and there is a lot of problems with it from a safety potential, but it can also be a bit fun and also very useful. Everything that is scary could also be very useful. And I'm not recommending anyone installing this. I have installed it on a virtual machine. I've been running it for a week or so. And now I'm going to do another install and just show you how the process is. And I have here a newly installed Debian installed with no extra packages. So the first thing we need to install is, of course, curl, because that's going to be used to download the install packages. So if we switch over to my screen here, we can see that I typed that in. So let's install that. A very quick install. And after that, we just run their install script. So running code directly from the internet can't be safer, right? And this curl script should be available to be run in PowerShell, on macOS, or in Linux, so it should just work. So we run OpenCLAW AI install sh directly here. So now we get to the OpenCLAW installer, your messages, your server, metas, tiers, I don't know. So it gets a new of these kind of quotes every time. It detected that I'm running Linux. It will install using npm and will use the latest version. I'm not sure if it's installing now. Node.js not found, so it will install that. And also installing Linux build tools for Python. Build tools installed. And we are back and we get the first prompt. So now it has installed npm, it has installed Git, it has installed OpenCLAW, and so on. And it also added it to the path. And now that it's installed, it starts it for bootstrapping. I mean, let's cause some responsible chaos. Another interesting quote. So when it starts up here, it will show you some security warning here. Please read. OpenCLAW is a hobby project and still in beta. Expect sharp edges. By default, OpenCLAW is a personal agent, one trusted operator boundary. This bot can read files and run actions if tools are enabled. A bad prompt can trick it into doing unsafe things. OpenCLAW is not hostile, multi-tenant boundary by default. If multiple users can address one tool-enabled agent, they can share delegated tool authority. If you are not comfortable with the security, hardening, and access control, don't run OpenCLAW. So be warned. Ask someone experienced to help you enabling tools or exposing it to the internet. Recommend a baseline. Pairing, allow list, mentioning, gating, multi-user shared inbox, split trust and boundaries, sandbox, least privileged tools, shared inboxes, isolate DM messages, and then keep secrets out of the agent's reachable file system. Use the strongest available model for any bot with tools untrusted inboxes. So, yeah, it's a bit scary because you need to give it access to stuff in order to help you with that stuff. But of course, if it has access to the stuff, it can also do harmful things with the stuff. So, would you want to continue? Yes. And here we can either do a manual configuration or a quick start. So I'm going to do a quick start onboarding. And now it will ask me for what kind of model I want to use. And you have a lot of different models here that you can use. And you can use a local Aulama if you want, or other LLMs and so on. Currently I'm running on OpenAI, because I had a login that I can't use ethically at the moment. So I much rather it be used for something fun and creative than something other. So let's skip this for now. Then we can now also go in and let's see, filter models by provider. So you can choose different models. Let's do all the providers. And we can then keep the current default. Then after you have added a provider and all the keys and so on to that provider, you can give it access to different chat instances here. So you can use Telegram, WhatsApp, Discord. So I have given it bot access to Discord, IRC, Google Chat, Slack, Signal, a couple of that I don't really know. Microsoft Teams, of course, Mattermost, Matrix, Blue Bubbles, I don't know what that is, and so on. Skip that for now. So that is if you want to chat with it. And then you can give it access to a search, either Brave Search, Google Search, Grok, or so on. And you need the different keys for those. Brave Search, for instance, cost money. I implemented a small script so you can actually do searches using my locally installed search NG and also Firecrawl. So I didn't use any of these providers. And then you can add skills if you want. So you can configure skills, and here you can give it password managers, blog watcher, and then camera snap, Claude Hub, Gemini for extra things, GIF grep, GitHub, GOG for gaming, Go Places, Nano Banana Pro if you want to do that, Nano PDF, Obsidian if you want to do editing of your different vaults, OpenAI Whisper. I think I added that to my Claudebot. I'm not really sure if I can use it for anything. Then what do we have here? Songzy, Summarize. You can actually summarize text and transcripts, video frames, and XURL. But I'm gonna skip all these for now. And then we can add a Places API key if we want. Nope. Gemini API key, no. Notion. I will not add any API keys for anything at the moment. And then you can add hooks for bootmd. So it actually, when it starts up, it will read that. I will do that. In the extra workspace bootstrap files, yeah, I do that. Command logger, log everything as in an audio file, and then session memory, I want that to do as well. So let's go for that. And now the gateway service is installed, and gateway service is what you talk to. So you can open the gateway service up so you can actually see it in a web browser, but you can also talk to it in a bot sense. You can talk to it here. So hatch into TUI. You want to hatch your bot. So now it will open up and talk to you here. Wake up, my friend. And then it doesn't have anything to talk to. So currently this is idle and down. So you can't really talk to it. But you get the sense here. Here you have a normal chat window where you can talk to your agent and do certain tasks. So if we quit out here, we could check OpenCLAW, and then we will have workspace. So in here, it will have bootstrapped the workspace with a couple of MD files. We have this sole MD where it keeps track on who it is and also all the information about this bot. We also have the user where it will keep track on who is using this bot. And when you're starting to use the bot, it will ask you for who are you, who am I, and so on. And it also keeps tracks on tools it can use and what available things are there. And it has a heartbeat file. I don't know if it needs to put something in there, but it's tasked that it should check with some periodicality. And then we have an agent MD where it also keeps track on how it should be working. So a lot of those kind of information. So this is the setup for OpenCLAW. And we are back, and now I have opened up the chat window for my bot that is currently running. And this is the OpenCLAW dashboard that you get if you enable the web interface instead. And here we have a normal chat. You can see that I've done some chatting with it already, so it had updated some things here. We can get an overview on how it's running and so on. You can update it directly from this interface if you want. So it will tell you if something is problematic. You can check the usage of your current keys. So on this cron job page, you can see the different things that you have set up that should run regularly. And I have a couple of cron jobs that is running. So first off, we have this Maltbox snapshot collector. I asked it to gather data regularly so it can use that in their reporting, the daily reporting. So it will run every 3 hours, fetching information and figuring out what is going on. And then we have this community helper. This is the one that is sends out funny remarks and also answers questions. We have Rackmatic monitor, and that is this rack mounted chassis that I wanted to find where I can buy it in Sweden, or it could be sent to Sweden and also is available and in stock and so on. We have the Maltbook trend ledger updater, so this will update the ledger of the actual trends. And then we have the Maltbook morning report. This is where I actually get in the chat all the information. And we also have a Maltbook daily joy post. So that is when it sends out these kind of funny remarks. And we have a podcast weekly source brief. And that is something that I haven't gotten yet. And so that is pretty much it. We also have something that it will tell me when it has been running Rackmatic for 15 days. If you haven't found anything, it will stop and not try anymore. So I wanted to have an end date for when it shouldn't look for this anymore. So that was the cron jobs that I currently have running. So that is things that should happen regularly. And you just say, can you look at this and then report back at this date, or report back every day or so on. And then it will create the cron jobs for you. We also have this agent. Currently we have a main agent running. We have skills. I haven't added any skills at the moment to my knowledge. And then targets and so on. So there is a bunch of things you can look into here. But the interface is not up and running. One thing that I wanted to look into was this molt face, or what is it called? Maltbook. So this is a Facebook for bots. So you are not allowed to create an account here. Only bots, verified bots, are allowed to create an account. And when you have a created account, you can then go in and say that I'm the owner of this bot, and then the bot are allowed to write. So you can see that I'm the human owner here of this, and you needed to use an X account in order to verify it. I have an X account, haven't written on X for months, so take that for what it's worth. Pretty much didn't use it after Elon bought it. Didn't have any reason to. We can see that the bot has gotten some karma, it has some followers and so on. So it has been a part of this community. It's very similar to Reddit when it comes to how it handles different tasks and so on. And one thing that I added to my bot was that it should go in every day and send something fun. So today it has said, if today feels heavy, do one thing and call it a win. Tiny wins will still count. So yeah, it's a good sentiment, I think. It also have sent in some dad jokes, one-liners and so on from time to time, which I think is fun. It also goes in every day regularly, look at the things with a skeptical eye, and tries to be helpful and answer different questions and so on. And as we see here, it has gone in and commented on a bunch of posts. So it could be a little fun thing that it could do. And of course, you could connect this to Discord, which I've also done. So I actually have a Discord channel where I've been talking to it a bunch over the different days. So what I've started with was to give it some kind of memory so it could actually do stuff in a good way. So it remembers pretty much what I say in the chat or what I say on Discord, and keeps track on that. I also gave it this task of going into this Maltbot and try to figure out what is going on Maltbot. So try to find sentiments, try to find trends, and so on. And it has done a pretty good job of that. I also asked it for finding a particular rack-mounted server or a chassis that I wanted to buy in the future. So it will regularly, every day, go in and find that on the internet. Currently, it hasn't found any things that I can buy. It seems to be out of stock everywhere and so on. Here we can see some sentiment for what's going on Maltbook, and it's pretty much this kind of mint GPT kind of thing. I'm not sure if it's some kind of coin or something that I'm trying to mint on the social network, but that is always coming up every day, this mint 20 thing. And what I have done more, so it tells me every day a bunch of different stuff when it comes to Maltbook, because I asked for that. It also gives me some reports on how it answered different threads and so on. Let's see if I can find something, some response here. I got one response on this. I also asked, do you have any good thing that I could report on in my podcast? So it actually gave me some links here from different blogs and so on that I could look into. A lot of it was not really something that is poignant to what I'm looking at or other things I'm already reading. One new thing here was LVN, which is some kind of open source news network where you write news and a lot of people are commenting on it and so on, so you can find sentiments in a pretty good way. So I'm going to continue looking at that. But it will send me a couple of stories every week. So I'm looking forward to seeing what it will come up to at lunch tomorrow, pretty much. It will send me, I'm recording this on Saturday, so on Sunday I will get a report there. So this is available on my Discord server, Earth, in the OpenCLAW channel. And the OpenCLAW channel is currently locked down to open source contributors. So if you have visited my Patreon or my Ko-fi and are a member on the level of open source contributor, you will get access to this channel. So you can go in there and look at that if you want. And it's just 10 per platform, pretty much, people. So we don't get that huge of an influx of people that want to use OpenCLAW, this bot. Because if that were the case, my quota would disappear very quickly. But you can tell it to schedule it to do tasks on the internet pretty much. And I also had one case where I wanted it to create a draw you diagram and save that on disk, so I can just send it up and check it. And those diagrams were pretty good. They were not complete, and I needed to do some changes on them in order to be able to use them. But at least it got it started, so I didn't have to do all that work. And coming up with that idea when you are away and doing other stuff, and you just open your phone, send a message to the CLAWbot, it goes out figuring out how to do these kind of diagrams and then save them for later so you can start using them, is kind of useful. So I used it a lot this week, but mostly for fun stuff. Currently I haven't found a use case that it's killer at, and I also haven't given it access to all my stuff because I don't really trust it. So this was what I wanted to cover today. I hope that you found this interesting. I hope that you learned something today. If you like this video, give it a like, share it with your friends and colleagues. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. And I really want to see you in the next video.